Welcome back, technical traders. This is the Humble Chartist, and today I'll be doing a technical breakdown on GRAB, ticker symbol GRAB. Before we begin, please take a second to give the video a like and subscribe. For more charting and price manipulations, I deeply appreciate those who have liked and subscribed to my videos and channel. I'll first start off by analyzing the daily charts, followed by the weekly charts, and monthly if necessary. So let's take a look at GRAB. It has been downtrending for a while. In fact, during its IPO, somewhere about $13 to $14, we did see a heavy sell down. So usually in the case where there's a heavy sell down IPOs, it means that the big institutions actually intended to already flush down the stock prices because they believe that they can eventually collect cheap at the end of the day or in a few weeks or months time. So we did see a heavy selling pressure all the way down. But in fact, we actually see buyers coming back at the level of $5. $5 was in fact an opportunity to buy, where you see a lot of you did actually can see a lot of buying pressure. I would say that actually funds were actually accumulating at this level here. You can see that many green volume, and the volume was particularly high. This year, you can see the volume was low, but from here onwards, the volume was generally very high. So it could be funds selling to each other. A bigger fund could be accumulating. And then because of yesterday's news that was included in the GRAB being included in the index, we did see a strong rebound. Technically, we are oversold already, and hence the rebound is stronger. But because we are on downtrending stocks, and downtrending stocks are actually very hard to reverse until there is sufficient buying power, I will say that on downtrends, we will see strong rebounds. But having said that, if the big players have already accumulated enough, then potentially we may see not just a rebound, but also a reversal. If we look at the MACD, it's an indication that big players were actually accumulating. You can see that the blue line cut above the orange line. Blue line continued to stay above the orange line, and now we are potentially heading up to the bullish zone. Let's take a look at the weekly charts to get a better idea. So as you can see, the weekly charts shows that the histogram has really turned from red to white, and the MACD looks like it's cutting up. So you can see that there's a huge green volume here. It's an indication that players may have accumulated, and they want to accumulate at very low levels. Hence, they constantly push the price down to around $5 zone, and then thereafter push it up. So the cost price may be about $5.30 to $5.50, or even below $6. I believe that they may potentially continue to push the price up so long as there's no other bad news and there's no not too much selling pressure. So let's take a look at the daily charts, get a better idea of where are the potential resistance. So when a stock has been beaten down for so long, it's very difficult to see what is a short-term resistance, but rather let's take a look at what the potential long-term resistance. If you were to look at the Fibonacci from its peak about $17 all the way to its bottom about $5, you can see that the first resistance would be about 780. 780 followed by 960. So let's take a thing step by step. We'll just focus on this resistance at 780. You can see actually cloud resistance here. So when the stock is on the way down, the cloud acts as a support. But when the stock is on the way up to its to the clouds, and then that acts as a resistance. So now we can see that there's a resistance, but if you look at the perhaps the 4-hour charts, you can see that we have pierced through the cloud on the 4-hour charts, but we have to sustain above it or even continue going above to see more momentum. Let's take a look at the hourly charts to get a clearer understanding as to what exactly happened yesterday. So yesterday we did see a very strong gap up. A strong gap up will indicate that actually buyers are very confident to push the price up because they already have accumulated beforehand. But that being said, when a stock gaps up, it creates a gap. And the problem with gaps is that it tends to be filled. So you can see that, for instance, here, the stock gap down here, and then we managed to fill the gap here. Likewise, in the event that we see there's a small gap here, and then we managed to fill the gap here. That was on the way down when there was a gap down. But the problem now is that there's a gap up. So eventually, this gap will probably be filled someday, sometime. Not exactly sure when, but it will be filled. So if you are patient, you can actually wait at these prices here. Or if you're ever more patient, then you can wait at these $5 back at the very low levels of strong support. So tomorrow is or tonight is actually already a Friday. So a Friday is very important because it determines the weekly candles, what it actually closed at. So yesterday, even though there's a gap up, we did see some selling pressure and profit taking. So selling pressures and profit taking is very normal and is considered pretty healthy. But what we don't want to see is that the candles being too big. So this is considered relatively okay. Because if the candles are too big, that means potentially these big players, not only have they pushed up the prices, but they actually wanted to dump the prices. Hence, they want to dump away their holdings, and potentially we will see more downside. So if we could see some support about 620 tonight, then we can potentially go higher. Ideally, you want to close at the peak for the week. Let's take a look at the weekly charts. You can see that the candle here is looking quite good. It looks like a bullish candle. But what I want to see is that we have to close at the peak. And the candle has to be like that, with no shadow above. Because if there's shadows above, then it will indicate the presence of sellers, which is not a good sign. So what we want to see is close at the peak. So that being said, I believe that Grab has a bit of potential. After it looks like he has bottomed out at $5. But downtrending stocks, being downtrending stocks, is very difficult to predict and also very difficult to for a trend reversal. In the event that we do see a breakout above these 660 levels with good volume, then we may be looking at a resistance at about 780. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and let's see whether buyers will return and continue pushing prices up. And that's all I have for this video. And if there's anything else, I'll give you guys an update. Thank you for stopping by, and do check out the rest of the channel. Leave in the comment section below your thoughts on this particular stock, or if you have any other TA requests. Also, do share this with your friends who are interested in market manipulation. Lastly, I do appreciate any feedback to improve the video content for you guys. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.